Hello, and welcome to the 13th episode of the Mississauga Arts Council Summer Podcast. My name is Ida Mohammed. I'm M.A.C Creative and Programming Coordinator, and I'll be your host this week while Isaac is on vacation. Today, we'll be talking to two of the bright minds behind a great new resource for emerging artists called Paparartzy.com. As always, if you're an artist of any discipline looking for exposure, M.A.C is here to help. And if you're a visual artist looking for a platform to sell your work, as promised, in our spotlight this week, we've got Paparartzy. Paparartzy.com is a great new virtual contemporary art gallery for art students and emerging artists to showcase and sell their work. I've got curator Ethel Achampon and marketing and communications director Luigi Guada here with me today to talk about the platform, where it came from, and what you can do with it as an artist. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about Paparartzy. Where did the idea come from, and where did the name come from?
That's a great question. First of all, I want to say thank you, Ida, for having me here. It's quite a pleasure to speak with you a bit about Paparartzy, and I'm honored to be talking with your listeners. So in terms of Paparartzy, it's quite an interesting name, and actually Luigi did come up with that name, so I'm actually going to let him sort of talk to you a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you. When Ethel had the idea of the online gallery, she had approached me, and we were looking at different names. And of course, when you're on an e-commerce or the internet, the name is very important because you want it so that when you speak about your idea and your concept, that the individual easily recognizes it and is able to remember it afterwards.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, paparazzi came to mind. And when you're thinking about paparazzi, it's, there's the artist at the central core, people around them taking pictures. And I just thought of inserting art into the term paparazzi, and that's how we came up with the name. So hopefully, and in the people that we've spoken to, when we come up with a name, a lot of the reaction is, oh, that's pretty cool, and they remember it.
Yeah.
So that's really the germ of it, and it was funny because we came up with the name, and it was, that's what we're going to go with, So it was we got buy-in very quickly, and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, well, it's a great name, very catchy. Can you let our listeners know a little bit about how it works?
Wonderful. Certainly, one of the main aim of Paparartzy, as we're sort of coming up with the whole unique concept, was that we make art accessible to everyone, and also we focus on local talent, local student talent, local emerging talent, because we are finding that there was no platform for students and emerging artists solely to sort of showcase themselves and make themselves visible. So in terms of that, what tends to happen in terms of Paparartzy is it's free for anyone to go in and register, and to be either an artist or to be a buyer or anyone who wants to browse the art. So you go to the site, very easy to use, very friendly, very secure. And all you do is you click on registering, a page pops up, you register either as an artist or as a buyer or as a regular account, and then you put in your information and voila, you are right on the site.
Great. So if an artist sells their work, say I want to buy someone's piece, how does that transaction happen? Do you guys collect commission or?
Oh, certainly. So as you know, Paparartzy.com, it is a gallery. So certainly in every sense of the way, it operates like a gallery. So when an artist posts their art and they sell, the artist gets to come up with their own price, and we help them in terms of, because we find a lot of artists struggle with pricing. We help them with their pricing, we help them, they put it online, and we market it and then it gets sold. And when it gets sold, what we do is we keep a percentage, but the artists get to keep a lot of their proceeds. We keep a percentage. Usually they can keep up to 80%.
Okay, very nice. So is this idea focused right now on a smaller audience, like say just artists in Toronto, or is it already global?
That's a great question, and we really just started with the site.
Yeah.
It's only been since June, And although, I mean, the beautiful thing about the internet and e-commerce is that it is visible globally.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really preclude anybody around the globe to come in and join the site.
Okay.
We did actually get somebody the other day from Czechoslovakia that was that had heard of the name and asked if they could submit a piece onto the site.
Okay.
And of course, the answer is yes, great, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
However, in the last couple of months, as we take this to the marketplace, it's really local and GTA based. Really, the grassroots is us really going out into the market and visiting some showcases. So we did Dreamscape over at the Regent Park a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
There was the Super Wonder Gallery that opened up about a week ago down on Ossington and Bloor.
Right.
And that's really where we're starting. We want to make it local to begin with.
Yeah.
Because that's really where our reach is.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is and the one thing that I'm learning every day, just the amount of talent that's out there.
Oh yeah.
It just blows me away.
Definitely.
When I see some of the things that the young students and the emerging artists are doing, and the passion that's behind it.
Yes.
That is the one thing that really, really amazes me.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can capture all those things onto an internet site and introduce it to a brand new audience. To an audience of somebody who may not frequent galleries or may not be involved in the community. With really just a click away now of seeing how much passion and how much great creativity that we have locally.
Yeah.
But this is the internet, and the internet is just opening up borders. That's really the advantage of being on an e-commerce site.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Speaking of which, you're completely right about how easy it is to access these communities online. Like I have friends, like I'm an artist. I love art. I'm always going to art shows. I have friends that I try to take to art shows, and they're intimidated by that community because they're not used to it. So it's great that you guys are bridging that gap. And as an emerging artist myself, I know it can be quite difficult to get represented by a gallery, let alone just get your work in a gallery without an extensive CV or connections. And I know there are lots of open calls to galleries, but often as an emerging artist, you kind of have to approach it with the mindset that I'm doing this just to get my work seen, not to really get it into the gallery. So this is a great resource that really bridges that gap. Yeah. But how can artists ensure that their work isn't lost in the site? How can they ensure that it's actually seen? Is there a way to get their work on the front page, for example, or how do you determine who gets the most exposure?
This is a fantastic question, and it's something that we thought about as we were building the site. One thing I want everyone to know, even in sort of building the site was actually built by students.
Okay.
So there was a lot of discussion in terms of what would be important for student artists in order to even create the site. So from ground up, we sort of thought about exactly what you are asking. One of the things that we've done very uniquely for this site is that when we have categories, right? So when people post, depending on what categories, and by categories I mean different forms of art. So there's painting, there's photography, there's jewelry, ceramics, sculptures and carving, and we have digital art. So if you're a digital artist and you post, first of all, as soon as you post, when someone clicks on digital art, you come up first, right? Mm-hmm. And as it gets filtered, as it gets filled up, people can search by name, they can search by location. Mm-hmm. So if someone wanted an artist from Ontario, and that's why how we bring in the local content so that people don't get lost. Yeah. So if I wanted an artist from Ontario, I can click Ontario and voila, and a local artist in Ontario comes up. So this limits people from getting lost. Mm-hmm. Another thing we've done is also by school. So because the focus is on student artists, so you can sort of search by schools. So if I wanted to support a school and I click on the school, all the names of those who are registered under the school come up. In that way, people don't get lost like they will in other websites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking of, I think that's great. I'm thinking of Kijiji and how you can pay like $5 to $7 extra or something, and your post is at the top. Mm-hmm. Have you guys considered doing anything like that?
Well, one of the wonderful things and unique thing about Paparartzy is that we wanted it to be free. We wanted it to be free for students to be able to post and emerging artists to be able to post. We want to make it accessible.
Yeah.
We felt by creating a paying system, it sort of puts a barrier.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to go that route. We want to make sure that if people have the talent, that money does not become a barrier for them to showcase their talent. And for me, that was quite important.
Okay.
Yeah, and students, emerging artists, a lot of times from a money standpoint, it might be challenging, and a lot of times, you're trying to make ends meet. And I think when you start getting into that type of situation, like a Kijiji, it's almost like a case system where somebody that has money has the ability to maybe go and go to the front of the lines, shall we say. At this point, we really wanted to make it accessible to everybody. And the beautiful thing about art is it's really in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
You really don't want to have one having an advantage over someone else. Google does the same thing with their Google AdWords, and it's the same type of idea. But that's really not where we want to take the site.
Yeah.
And if I could add to that, one thing also, if everyone goes onto the site, paparartzy.com, you notice that we have a button that is sort of is called Featured Artists. And that is a very amazing concept in that if a lot of artists will be posting, and we understand that sometimes there's a fear of people getting lost. However, one good thing about the featured artists is every month we go in and we are going to have the audience actually pick what their favorite artist, and then we are going to feature that artist. So, and it's going to be every single month starting this September. So there is a huge potential of getting people recognized above and beyond just posting it. We want to make sure that we are making people visible as much as possible.
Yeah. So is there like a liking and commenting system similar to other social media platforms?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So there's a voting system as well, where people can vote for their favorite art and have a comment and even interact with the artists themselves.
Okay.
So to give that interaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when this blows up and becomes a huge resource for that every artist is on, how are you going to determine who gets picked if there are millions of artists on there?
That is going to be such a great problem to have, I tell you. I don't even. We're really not at that point of even thinking about it. At this stage, we just want a forum for artists to feel comfortable. I think integrity is a very important part of the site, and really having an appreciation for the work and the passion that the students and the emerging artists are putting on. When you look at the main principles of the site, integrity is going to be at the forefront.
Absolutely.
We don't want anybody to feel slighted or in any sense.
Yeah, that's great. Just a question about the structure. So do the artists get to create like a profile for themselves? Like they get to have their background on there, get to have all of their work on there, get to post about their work on there? Is it like that?
Absolutely. So just like any gallery, when you bring your art, you have a bio of yourself, right? You also have a description of the art, and you also have a profile of yourself. And we also encourage you to also put a picture.
Okay.
We actually, because as you know, when people are actually looking at art, purchasing art, it's a lot more about the artist as much as it is about the art. So people want to feel a connection with their artist.
Yes.
They want to know the story. What was the creative process? What got the artist to sort of develop that work, right? So we encourage the artist to actually write a bit about themselves, write a bit about the art piece, and certainly post it. There's also a section that they can also have communication with a potential buyer. In terms of the buyer can leave a comment. And certainly there can be comments on the site, which is wonderful because I think that interaction actually helps with the connection and definitely gets the two people to buy into, we are both invested in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a way to kind of like follow an artist that you like, or like to see their work as it progresses, see their other work as it as they create new work? Is there a way to see that?
Well, we just came up, and funny enough, we just actually came up with this concept of creating a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So we just created a YouTube channel, and we have actually put a call out there inviting artists that post on our site to actually submit a video of themselves creating work.
Okay.
And there's a link from Paparartzy's site to the YouTube channel, so that when people people want to see a particular artist that have submitted work, they can actually go onto the YouTube channel and see them in their creative process, where they can explain what do you do. And we currently have 2 videos actually in the process of being edited, and it will be posted up shortly.
Very cool. Yeah. That's a great way to kind of see what the artist is like. It's not just seeing the artwork, it's seeing the person behind it.
Absolutely.
So to me, Paparartzy combines 2 very essential things. It gets artists online, and it gives them space to make money off of their work, even if they don't have the background yet, to get into a gallery show. And to me, that's one of the greatest benefits of your platform. As we discussed, I love how inclusive it is and how it also allows young artists to capitalize on how the world is moving towards digitizing everything. What can you say, both as a curator and as a marketer, are some of the other advantages of being on an online platform as an artist and having your work on an online platform?
Well, one thing I can actually speak to, and coming from my own personal experience, as an artist, I can go and develop my own website and post my art on and showcase my art that way. And we strongly encourage that everyone has their own personal. However, one of the challenges I faced was that people had to know who I am first.
Yeah.
They had to be able to go in and Google my name, and hopefully my name came up. Not someone else. I'm in another part of the world. Certainly I'm not the only one with the name Ethel. And so it comes up, and then they'll need to be able to be familiar with my work already in order to see it.
Yeah.
One thing about Paparartzy is that, first of all, the name is catchy, and also it is one marketplace where everyone is, right? So when you post it on, people are drawn to it already. It already has a following.
Yeah.
So when they go in, you are there.
Yeah.
They can see you, and that makes it even much more that you'll be more visible in that aspect. So I think that makes Paparartzy quite unique. Another way it makes it so unique is that usually when you go to a gallery, most gallery has one genre. Like they either have photography, painting, they focus on one thing, glass, ceramics. Paparartzy had 6 categories. So, and a lot of students, when they graduate, sometimes they will dab in many different forms. And the question is, where do I take all my art? Do I have to go knocking on several different galleries?
Yeah.
Here you have one unique gallery where you can post everything, and people can see your talents in many different forms. And I think that makes it quite a wonderful place to be at.
There's 2 key things about the site. As a student, the very first one is just the ease of accessibility.
Yeah.
So you can have your work, you take some digital photography and have it on the site running within a very short time period. But the other thing is, as Ethel was saying, really the site is focused on student and emerging artists. It's not like many other sites out there that, well, I think I'm going to go out and look for a place to live. Oh, let me see what art is out there, and let me see if I can buy some sports tickets, or or going to other where it's multi-faceted.
Yeah.
This is exclusively on original works, and it's really for students and emerging artists. So it's very focused, and the audience that we're trying to attract is original works, and having them sell their works to a consumer that fully understands that this is coming from really grassroots, and to really see the passion and the talent that's out there. One of the things that I had mentioned earlier, having some friends going, when they're doing their buying decision, they'll go out and buy their art from IKEA, for instance.
Yeah.
And then everywhere I go with a lot of friends, and every time I go into somebody's living room or kitchen, it's always that same piece of art from the same store.
Yep.
And it's amazing how much art somebody like an IKEA or a Winners is selling.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we can take that mindset away from that consumer and say, well, have you ever considered some of the great works of art and the original works of art that you could consider purchasing by going onto paparartzy.com?
Yeah.
And rather than having the three dogs playing poker on your wall, you can get an original piece of art that you could enjoy for many, many years,
Yes.
and buying something that resonates with you.
Yep.
And in the meantime, you are supporting a young artist.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really the from a truly marketing standpoint, that's the mindset that we're trying to create. And e-commerce is starting to change the way people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming much more expansive in how you do your purchasing. Even myself, when I'm online, it's just It's amazing of what's out there in terms of what you can purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is paparartzy.com could be a really good avenue for students to easily post their material, and for our audience or the buyers, to look at it and connect it to, and maybe take away some sales from IKEA and Winners and all those other guys.
They've got enough money.
That's really what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's starting to work, because some of the people that have come on the site and seen some of the things that have been posted, they're kind of saying, "Wow, there's some pretty cool things out there."
Yeah.
And hopefully as we get more content, that there's going to be that wealth of passion and talent that will resonate with the consumer.
I think aside from all of the things that you're saying about your audience being the buyers, I think some of your most important audience members, as this platform grows and grows, is going to be the curators and the gallery owners. This could become something that curators and gallery owners actually turn to recruit new talent. So it's good to actually get on this platform, not only to just sell, because you might not sell. Maybe your art, the people who are logging on aren't into your art just yet, but a curator might be interested and might be exactly what a curator is looking for.
Yeah.
And you've just hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was one of the, as I stated in the beginning, that was one of the key pieces, making people visible, making artists, because one of the things is, I know how hard it is to knock on doors and say, take a chance on me.
Yeah.
And this one, at least the curators and other galleries will actually have an opportunity to look at that. One thing that we also need to let people know is we do partner up with other galleries as well. So for students, especially with those who are featured, there are times that we partner up with galleries, and the galleries will also have them in their space. So there we are looking at a multifaceted sort of way of making students visible. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, knock on wood, we also want to make them money.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll come with that anyway. Yeah. So as a curator and as a marketer, I'm sure you'll agree that there is more there's more to it when it comes to succeeding as an artist than just getting yourself on an online platform and expecting your work to just attract buyers by itself. What advice would you have for young artists when it comes to succeeding and making a name for themselves, aside from Paparartzy, which is a great platform?
So one thing I've always held true to myself is passion. Keep the passion burning, right? When we create art, one thing I don't think about is money. I create it because I have a vision, I have a light, and I create it, and I find whatever canvas that I need to be able to create it on. So I'll say, create the art, be passionate about it. In terms of marketing themselves, one thing I encourage everyone to do, as I said earlier on, is that set up your own website as well. get your art on that website. Another thing is look for different partnership, Paparartzy being one of them, because we see ourselves as partners we are another platform in getting yourself out there. But another way you can get yourself out there as well is speaking with people, knowing the different markets out there, knowing the climate, who are your art for, because when we all do different types of art, different people, art is in the eyes of the beholder, so different people like different art. So know your audience, right? And we help with that. We help people sort of figure out, this is the economic climate, this is the audience, this is how much time you've put in, this is all the sweat and tears you've put into it. So what will make you sort of give up this art and sort of price it, sort of value it. So all those things, we are hoping that they will continue doing rather than just rely on Paparartzy. And being the marketing guru, would you have?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Definitely passion. And anybody who goes into a college program to pursue the arts, you have to assume that they had the passion for it, or else they never would have really done it.
Yeah.
But I think the next phase is probably a level of commitment and confidence that that you're really focused on what you're doing, and that you believe in yourself. I think that's integral to it, and just keep at it, because if you have the talent, it's going to show up in time as you progress. But when you're doing something that you truly love doing, that is probably the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And one of the really special things about this website and even in general, when a young person, when a student does sell a piece of their art, in exchange for money, you can just see the joy in their face. And I don't think it's really just about the money. It's that, wow, I was able, I created something of value, monetary value that went over and above the intrinsic love that you had for the product.
Yeah.
So I guess to summarize, it's passion, commitment, staying focused. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. From my own personal experience, I think that one of the most important things for any artist, especially if you're emerging, is to know how to speak about your art. Don't just let your art speak for itself, because there is a lot that your audience will miss.
Right.
There's I know so many emerging artists. My whole group of friends are emerging artists, and they're kind of, when we're at a show that their art is up, they kind of just sit back and they don't really talk to anybody. It's kind of like you have to go and make those connections. People aren't going to just approach you, especially if they're not really in that community and they find the art community somewhat intimidating because they feel like they don't understand it. You have to go and make those connections yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great point. And it just brought me back to the gallery that we were in last week. And there was one piece of work that I just really loved. And the artist was nearby and came over, and we started chatting, and she was telling me about some of the nuances about the painting, and it just made it that much more appealing to me. So that's a very good comment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's one area where visual artists and performing artists kind of differ, because performing artists really have to put themselves out there, not just their work. Visual artists, unless they're very contemporary and they're performance visual artists, they kind of just sit back and let their work be the face of everything. So thank you so much for coming here today. We really appreciate having you. If listeners want more information or want to connect and keep up with what you guys are up to, how can they follow you? Where can they follow you?
Well, one of the most amazing ways to do that is going to paparartzy.com. And for those of you who want to know, the spelling is Paparartzy. Paparartzy. Yes, it is one of those names that is a bit longer than. So you have Paparartzy.com. Yes, and so that's one way. So you can sort of go on the site. It will give you some additional information. You can also contact us at info@paparartzy.com. And certainly we have someone who is always available to answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need more questions, you can leave us a comment on paparartzy.com as well with your contact information, and we'll certainly contact you.
And there's also the Facebook page that you could you look in and see what's happening. It's usually updated on a fairly regular basis.
Okay. Do you guys have a Twitter account?
Absolutely. We have a Twitter and we have an Instagram.
Okay.
And with their Instagram as well, we showcase the talent of different artists.
Okay,
so
great.
another way of advertising and making people visible and sort of, creating a buzz around different artists.
Yeah. Instagram's definitely exploding with artists now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everybody I follow is an artist. And you guys said that you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, we just started a YouTube channel, and we invite everyone, every emerging student artist right now to go on Paparartzy. Easy and free to register, post your art. And we also invite you to also make a short video of yourself, creating an artwork, and submit it to us. And we'll definitely post it on our YouTube channel for all your friends and family to see all the wonderful works you do. And also for people who are curious about your inspiration to be able to go there and see your work. So that will be wonderful.
So what's the name of your YouTube channel if our listeners want to see? It's
also called Paparartzy Gallery.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that the same for your Instagram?
The same for Instagram is Paparartzy. So it's we make it quite easy for people to remember. Yes.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Want to start selling your work on Paparartzy? Then click on over to paparartzy.com. That's PAPARARTZY.com.